Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And I was sitting over there and I was watching Vicky Dillard on Fly Nubian Queen TV, and I was really catching the Holy Ghost today. I just really love what she had to say, and I really thought that it was important for our community to take a second to galvanize around a really important conversation that I think needs to be had after this recent attack. You know, some people want to call things anti-Semitism. I refer to it as anti-racism. Anti-racism means that when you stand up against racism, people are going to accuse you of something that you did not do. And if anybody knows what it means to be falsely accused, it is the black man. And so on the Daily Beast, I don't know if you guys saw this, the Daily Beast basically said something ridiculous like the disturbing rise of black anti-Semitism, and they had Diddy and Ice Cube and Farrakhan and Nick Cannon all on the cover of this magazine. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you saw this. Let me know if you saw it, because it was really interesting, because you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was in elementary school. And I remember going to school, and I remember the teachers saying that your behavior is disturbing. You know, we're really concerned about your behavior. Has anybody else ever gone to school and had some white lady come up and tell you that they're concerned and they're disturbed and all these other things, you know, and you ain't even doing nothing, like you just being normal, and they're telling you how they're concerned about your behavior. That's what they call paternalism. Paternalism is when somebody looks at you like an infant. That's when somebody looks at you almost like a baby, or looks at you as almost like a savage that they have to civilize, that they have to train, they have to teach how to behave. Now, let me just give you some background on this in terms of how racist folks work. First of all, they did this in Africa. They used to go to Africa, and they would basically say, we're going to go civilize the savages. We're gonna, you know, we don't want you behaving like that. We're concerned about your behavior, so we're going to teach you how to behave in a proper fashion, right? So this act is about as old as racism gets, in terms of them telling you somehow they feel that they have the right to teach you. They feel like they have the right to tell you what's wrong with you, and their shit just kind of gets pushed under the rug, right? like they don't have any imperfections, but you've got all the imperfections, and the best thing you can do as a black person is to elevate yourself and make yourself white, right? That's why they put the white Jesus in your church, because you're elevating to heaven and you're praying to that Jesus in order to elevate yourself, so that hopefully one day you'll wake up and look in the mirror and you will see a white man like Uncle Ruckus. So at the end of the day, you know, I think that we have to sort of understand our role in that process, in that we choose to follow their lead on this, right? We choose to send our children to be educated by these people who look at them as savages, who are concerned about their behavior, who find you to be disturbing. And so this translates. This doesn't stop when you're a kid in school. It continues all the way into adulthood. It continues all throughout media. If you don't want to talk about, think about how many times you've seen black men, prominent black men, not just Nick Cannon, but prominent black men be forced to buckle to their knees and apologize in public, right? You saw it with Nick Cannon. You saw it with Snoop. I remember Terrell Owens, when he was playing football, I remember they decided that he was a bad person, and they had him apologizing on TV. He had a whole press conference and everything. It looked like a little boy. And I want you to understand this from what I'm seeing, so you can connect the dots. You got to connect the dots. When you're playing chess, not checkers, you got to understand what they're doing. What they're doing is they're doing what they've always done. They've always felt that you are inferior, and that their job is to help you by making you more like them, to help you in your pathway toward assimilation. So when they point out Ice Cube and Cannon and these other guys and say, oh, this is the rise of anti-Semitism and we're concerned about their behavior, what they're really saying is that we had a pathway of assimilation for you. and we've rewarded you. We've given you plenty of butter biscuits along the way. You got butter biscuits on top of butter biscuits stacked up in the bank account. You're doing very well financially because we took good care of you. Now you are deviating from your pathway to assimilation, and your behavior is very disturbing to us. The other interesting thing is that this often comes more so from white liberals than conservatives, actually, because it's the liberals. If you look at the history of communism and socialism, they're very, very entrenched on social engineering. Social engineering means shaping how you think. It means shaping how you view LGBT, shaping how you view feminism, shaping how you view economic issues, like shaping how you view pretty much everything. And so I of course, I resist that, right? That's something that I had to think about in order to break away from it. But I really want to sort of make these quick points to you so you'll understand some of this. Now, do me a favor. If you're watching somewhere online, I want to apologize to everybody who came to my YouTube channel. I went live on YouTube and my mic went out. I think I tapped something, and when your mic goes out, you never come back. So I apologize to those of you who are watching. Hopefully follow me on Instagram, which is The Real Boyce Watkins, so you can, catch me there as well. And I will share this video later on my YouTube channel. But here's the thing. I want to make a point to you, and I hope I can convince you of some of this, because I want to lay this out for you. I believe that this Nick Cannon situation presents a lesson. I believe that this whole situation with Nick Cannon is a lesson for black people in terms of understanding how we need to move forward with black leadership. Right? I really think that this whole thing with Nick Cannon is a lesson. This whole thing with Snoop Dogg is a lesson. I think it's all a lesson. And let me break it down for you. You guys know I do analysis, and this is and it really links to the fact that, think about this, right? When they decided to, which Negro are we going to make buckle? Which one are we going to make apologize? They didn't say, well, let's go call Professor Griff. Let's go get Griff. Let's take him down. Let's make him apologize, right? They didn't do that, right? They didn't do it because they know Griff is already marginalized from mainstream America. Griff is not part of white Hollywood. Griff is not part of that set. So they have nothing to hold over him. It's almost like with my children, the worst thing in the world. I don't know if anybody else got kids, but have you ever, tell me if you've ever done this. Tell me if you've ever, had a time where your child wanted like a PlayStation for Christmas, and you got them the PlayStation, and if you're a parent, you maybe were thinking, okay, that's good. Now I have something I can take away from you to get you to do what I need you to do, right? Like I have something I can hold over your head. I can take away the PlayStation if you don't do your homework, or if you don't clean the kitchen. I can be like, don't make me take away that PlayStation, right? So sometimes you give gifts in order to control behavior. Am I right or am I right? Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Come on, don't lie. Don't lie. Come on, because I know y'all do it. If you're a parent, then you do the same shit that I do. I'm sure me and Alicia do it all the time. We'll be like, "Ooh, she wants an iPhone. Let's go get her an iPhone." And then we know that we have something that we can use as leverage to get her to behave. Well, Hollywood does the same thing, except they just do the grown-up version of that. Right? When they put that money in your pocket, when they take care of you, when they feeding you extra butter biscuits, they want you to get fat, plump, and juicy on the butter biscuits. They give you the drugs because they want you to become an addict. Right? They give you the fame and the power and the money because they want you to have that. They do to you, they do to some of these brothers what Jeffrey Epstein was doing to celebrities, I believe, on behalf of some government entity. I believe Jeffrey Epstein, before he committed suicide, I believe that he was a spy or something. I believe Jeffrey Epstein's job was to go out and be this billionaire playboy, find out what people want, give it to them, videotape them enjoying whatever you just gave to them, and then you could use that as leverage later on. Why do you think Jeffrey Epstein kept such exquisite documentation of all the politicians that were sleeping with those young girls? Getting high on cocaine, right? Going out here and getting money for illegal activities. And why do you think he kept track of that? He kept track of that because that gives him power. Well, this tactic is not just used by the Israeli government, with their spies, because I believe Jeffrey Epstein worked for a government entity. Nobody knows how he got his money for real. They vaguely described it. I believe that they set him up to be to play that role. Well, they do the same thing in Hollywood. Right? They're like, oh, you want to go cheat on your wife? Oh, well, we're gonna put a big booty stripper next to you who will fulfill your wildest dreams and do whatever your wife will not do with you, right? Or maybe you like little boys, right? Oh, well, we got little boys. We'll get some little boys, for you, right? Right? Or maybe you like drugs, or maybe you don't like drugs, but we can introduce you to drugs. You ever had an orgy before, right? And my point in all this is to say that I believe that what they do is they enjoy the idea that once they've taken good care of you and gotten you into their circle, then they can get you to do whatever they want to do. So I believe that Nick Cannon had to apologize because they had too much on him. I believe that Nick Cannon, and it may not be anything sinister. It may not be something as sinister as drugs or women or something beyond women, right? It may be something as basic as a $58 million contract that you're no longer going to receive if you continue with this black people stuff. Like you say you love black people, but are they worth $58 million to you? A lot of people would have a hard time answering that question, especially if you got $58 million worth of bills to pay, right? So here's the deal. I'm going to lay out this idea to you, and I'm going to make it real quick because I want us to get on with our day. But I want you to consider this idea, and I'm calling the Council of Intelligent Black People, and I want to ask you if you can agree with me on this resolution. I believe that we do not want black celebrities to become black leaders. A black celebrity can be a leader of celebrities, but a black celebrity is not equipped to be a black leader. A black celebrity, unfortunately, most of them, and some of them are good people. I know some of them, I know a few. I don't hang out with a lot of celebrities, but the ones I run across, some of them are okay. The ones that are not okay, I don't talk to them anymore. But there are a few that I have a lot in common with. I've spoken and said on many occasions, I have a lot in common with Charlamagne the God. We're not the same guy. Sometimes things happen that he does that I don't understand. Sometimes I do things that he doesn't understand, but we understand each other in a certain space. But I believe that black celebrities, and this is no disrespect to the celebrities, but I believe black celebrities should not be black leaders. Why is that? Well, because here's the deal. To have someone as a leader, they've got to have a few things that leaders need to have with them in order to be effective at their job. And this is important. When people started identifying me as even a black influencer, I never saw myself as a black leader. I didn't really want that role, but I knew I was an influencer. I also knew that I was an advisor. That's how I saw myself, as an advisor. I believe you can be your own best black leader, but I have to acknowledge that some people see me in a leadership capacity. So I thought about that and took that very seriously. I even got a leadership coach. I swear to God, I would meet with her and say, how do I become an effective leader? And she would say, Boyce, okay, you got to stop doing this and you got to start doing more of that. And she taught me how to evolve as a human being. So I hope that you've seen some of that evolution. I want to be a better person. I want to do the right thing. I don't want it to go to my head. I don't want to be stupid. So that was the process for me. Now, for a leader to be effective, in my opinion, you need to have a few things. One, there must be security, right? If they see one person, this is why you should never have leadership or a movement where there's one person who is larger than life, who is the head of the entire movement. Why is that? Well, because you make that person an easy target. If they want to take down the whole movement, all they got to do is take down one person. They could not take down Al-Qaeda because they identified Osama bin Laden as the leader, but Al-Qaeda had many cells. They were divided. They were diversified. So you really can't kill one person to take out that entire movement. Whereas for the black movement, you had Martin Luther King, boom, shot him. The whole black community shifted because one guy had become the figurehead. Take down Jesse Jackson, when he's not here, Rainbow Push becomes a non-entity. You look at Malcolm X, killed him, boom, his whole movement died. A lot of it died. So I believe that you need, one, to be diversified, not one person as the figurehead, but then number two, you need security. That person needs to be protected. That person needs to be safe. In order for that person to be safe, they've got to do things that won't put themselves in harm's way. That means that if you have a man or a woman that is in leadership and they can't have basic things like some degree of even sexual discipline or some degree of discipline where they're not running around putting themselves in stupid situations, then that person can be affected. But if they're going around and constantly doing things that will make them unsafe, then it's not going to work. Two, they have to have a freedom from various addictions. A couple of addictions that come to mind are addictions to drugs and money. Actually, the four things that tend to get a man in trouble are sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling. Ladies, if you marry a man and he has trouble in any of those four areas, sex, drugs, alcohol, gambling, you might want to think twice about marrying that man, right? So the thing is that a man or woman in leadership If they have an addiction to things like drugs, that can be held over their head. It's going to create volatile behavior. It's going to cause them to make very bad decisions. That's not good for a leader. Also, the financial addiction, I believe, is what gets a lot of our celebrities too. A lot of our celebrities have drug addictions and financial addictions, right? They have $150,000 a month worth of bills, so they can't just walk away from their job because they have not put themselves in a position where they're financially secure enough to pay all them damn bills and still go out here and raise hell and act a damn fool. As soon as you hold some shit over their head, as soon as you tell them, hey, we're going to take your show off the air, they start freezing up and start buck dancing. Okay, boss, I just go dance. I'm sorry, master. Right? Well, the thing about it is that you can't go to war with a monkey on your back. You can't go to war with a monkey on your back. You can't run a race with a monkey on your back. You got to unload all your weight, unload your burdens, unload the things that'll slow you down, unload the things that'll hold you back, unload the things that'll keep you still so you can duck and dodge and move and say, you know what, I'm okay with this. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to lose all this. When I went to battle with Syracuse, when I went to war with Syracuse University, first thing I had to do to prepare myself to really fight was I said, I need to release. Do what the Buddhists are really good at this. I said, I meditated and said, I'm going to release myself from all of the things that they're using to control me. I'm going to release myself from the need for all this money. I'm going to release myself from the need for their validation. I don't need a white man to tell me that I'm special anymore. I'm going to release myself from the fear that might hold me back, the fear of being blackballed from my profession, right? And once I released and shed all of that, it was like taking off some real heavy clothes. And now I was ready. I was so quick. They couldn't touch me then. I was ducking, dodging, sticking, moving because I wasn't scared. I was like Rambo when he told us, think about this, when Rambo and Bumpy Johnson did this in the Harlem Godfather movie, where he basically was ready for war, and first thing he did was he said, okay, I don't want them using my wife and children against me, so I'm sending my wife and my daughter up to down to North Carolina for a few weeks to get them out of the way. And you get ready. You got to get ready for battle. A lot of our celebrities are not ready for battle. You're too entangled with the bullshit. You're too entangled with Hollywood. You're too entangled with all the financial obligations and all the connections that you have. So you can't really be an effective warrior, in my opinion. I don't believe that. They can blackmail you. If you've done any kind of heavy, significant dirt, and they've encouraged that dirt, believe me, they document these things. These people are very strategic. They document these things so that they can use them in case they need to get you back in line. I read a book called How the Jews Invented Hollywood, and this was not anti-Semitic at all. This was me learning game. This was me learning strategy. I was helping black folks. This was not an anti-Semitic book at all. This is a book that was very flattering in terms of really accurately describing the intelligent and heroic and extraordinary and inspiring way that community came together and built an industry to feed their children. I wanted black people to learn from that. And one thing that I figured out is I said, man, they have been doing this for a long time. They understand that when you have a celebrity that you sign with Warner Brothers Studios, you want to have a little bit of dirt on them just in case you need that person to humble himself and get back in line and go back and finish the movie, right? So they protect their investments by documenting all the little things that they can use against you later on. So a lot of our celebrities are just not ready to play that game. So they just blackmail them a little bit, or they say, hey, if you keep on this path, then guess what? We're going to expose your side chick, or we're going to expose this other thing that you did. Then next thing you know, that person's apologizing and they're issuing statements that don't even sound like they were written by them. Also, the other thing a leader must have, in my opinion, is they must have a willingness to sacrifice. I mean, you've got to be really willing. I mean, if you think about it, I think that the epitome of great leadership might be a Malcolm X or a Marcus Garvey or a Harriet Tubman, because they really put themselves in a position where they just said, I have nothing to lose. Malcolm was ready to die. Malcolm was offered support and additional security. Malcolm didn't care. Malcolm was ready to die. Martin Luther King was at an event and somebody heard a gunshot off in the distance. Everybody turned to look to see where the gunfire was coming from except him. because he had accepted the fact that he was going to probably pay the ultimate sacrifice. He already knew that he might not get to the mountaintop with you. So I've always said, I want to be like him. I want to be able to really look at death as just a transition, as something that's just going to happen inevitably, as opposed to living my life in constant fear. That's why I reacted very differently to things like the coronavirus and all that. I've accepted the fact that I could die. And if I could take a bullet tomorrow to advance the cause of my people and what we're doing, I'd jump in. I'd volunteer for the bullet. I'd be like, give me the bullet first, because I've lived, right? I've been blessed. My life has been extraordinary. I've had a chance to have an impact. What more can you ask for? So what are you scared of, right? So to me, I think that if you're not willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice, then you might not really want to try to take the lead in anything of significance, especially something that's very important to other people. So one area where I would critique or advise or counsel a Nick Cannon is to say, I understand what you were doing. I think you were trying to do the right thing. I think you really love black people. But do you really have to be the loudest Negro in the room? Do you really have to be the alpha all the time? Must you always take the lead and get the most attention and position yourself as the primary leader in all of that? I know the white man gave you a lot of opportunity. I know that most of our black celebrities, they have big names because white people put them on. That's what happened, right? They went to Hollywood and somebody discovered them and put them in a movie, or somebody put them on an album, or somebody, Nick knew people at Nickelodeon, and that's what led to him being in front of millions of people, right? And he's a smart guy. He took advantage of his opportunity. God bless him for that. But that doesn't make his accomplishments any more significant than, that single black mother who lives in the hood who was teaching little 7-year-olds every day for the last 30 years. She's far more significant than a Nick Cannon, but because the world gets caught up in what is flashy, we will follow the flashy person before we pay attention to the person who's actually put in the work. So my belief is that we need to really take the time to pull ourselves back in and not get so caught up in the flashy and focus on the people that have really put in that work day in, day out, every single day. Because the celebrities are kind of like the parent that comes and sees their child on birthdays and Christmas, right? The celebrity is the person who takes the child to Disneyland and takes them to the movies every time they see him. So that's the fun parent, right? But the fun parent is not the real parent, right? The fun parent is not the same as the parent who fed you every day, right? The fun parent is the one we tend to love, right? Kids sometimes will love the fun parent and then be mad and hate the parent that actually made the greatest sacrifice. And I think that a sign of maturity is to say, no, we're going to make sure that while we might appreciate what the fun parent does, right? The fun parent provides something that's interesting and exciting. You're not as important as the actual parent who was feeding us every day. So who's feeding you every day, black people? Who's really in the trenches with you every single day? Who's really very consistent with you? Who are the people in your community? I want you to make that decision. I'm not going to tell you who those people are, but who are the people that you've seen consistently for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years, just literally maintain the exact same message no matter what, right? Ride or die. They could threaten them. They never apologize. They always stand tall. They always move forward. They're very consistent. Well, there's a small number of people in that category, right? You have maybe a Frances Cress Welsing, God rest her soul. You have Dr. Claude Anderson. You have Minister Louis Farrakhan. You got a couple other people out here that'll do that, right? But the celebrities can't do that because the celebrities, they're serving a master. And if you're serving your master, you can't really serve the black community too much, because at some point your master is going to say, "What are you doing? I need you over here," and you got to go. It's like trying to get somebody to help you with your business when they got a full-time job, right? If they got a full-time job at McDonald's, working 80 hours a week, and you're trying to start working on a business with that person, they're going to give you their spare time, but they can't give you the bulk of their time. Or whenever McDonald's calls while they're working on a project with you, they're going to say, "I'm sorry, I got to go. McDonald's called, I got to go work a double shift, right? So with celebrities, that's what happens. Every now and then they sneak away and they get connected with the black community. And because you've seen them on TV, you fall in love, you get excited, because unfortunately your self-esteem is a little bit dodgy because you are craving that love and attention from these celebrities. So they come around, they give you some love, you suddenly feel like you're part of the it crowd, you're accepted now, and then you get accustomed to that. So that parent, that weekend parent, that fun parent comes around and says, hey, I'm back, I really want to be a real dad, I gave up the drugs, I gave up all the women, I really want to be a good family man, I really want to do the right thing. And you believe that, right? You fall for that and you connect to that, and then guess what? That parent lets you down. Guess what? There's that day where you're waiting for, daddy to pick you up at school, and daddy doesn't show up because daddy's other chick called him. He's now like Frankie Lyman going back to Hollywood when he was messing with Layla Rashawn at the end of that movie. So the next point, let me make a couple more quick points and then we're going to be on out of here. The other thing that a black leader needs to have that a lot of us celebrities do not have is they must be well trained on the issues. If they are not well trained on the issues, they're not going to be very good at what they do. A lot of times you'll hear maybe rappers, check that front pocket too, it's in the front. You'll hear rappers or you'll see actors who will sit on panels next to scholars and leaders and political scientists, and they will make very strong, they will take very strong positions and make very strong points on very important issues. And they'll sound stupid, right? I don't know if you've ever seen this. I'm not saying no names, but I'm saying sometimes, when you have somebody coming in there and that person is a full-time rapper, but now they're trying to be a political scientist. Well, a rapper trying to be a political scientist sometimes can sound as silly as a political scientist trying to be a rapper. Now, sometimes a political scientist or a scholar can become a rapper, right? I've seen Dr. Christopher Emdin at Columbia. I've seen him rap. He's actually a really good rapper, right? But he's not. He can't do what Lupe Fiasco does, right? He can't do what Kendrick Lamar does, right? So the thing is that we have to kind of stop for a minute and kind of say, what sense does this make? When you got Cardi B having a debate with Bernie Sanders, who's she representing? Who is she? Who's her constituency in that moment? It ain't black people. When Kanye is sitting with Trump, that's another example. Who is Kanye representing? He ain't representing black people. He's representing rappers. He's a Kardashian in that moment, right? Maybe he's an alien, but he's not representing me. He's not representing you. Right? So when they bring these celebrities in these conversations, that is another sign of extreme disrespect for black people, by the way. And I think that that's something that you want to speak out about. Now, some of y'all mentioned T.I. also. I have to be honest. Here's what's fascinating. T.I. is my favorite rapper of all time. But I've seen T.I. try to hold a debate on certain issues, and I feel like there are times where I really wish I could help him out a little bit. I wish I could sit there and kind of whisper in his ear and be like, no, okay, bro, let's change that message just a little bit. Let's fine tune what's happening here. And that's not disrespectful, because I'm sure if I was in the booth trying to rap like T.I., rapping for the hell of it, hella rich, right? Like if I was in there trying to rap like him, he would be like, okay, boys, you gotta tone it down. All right, you gotta change this, right? He would give me advice the same way I would give him advice, so I think that we've got to kind of think about this. I think that celebrities, for a multitude of reasons, are just not good leaders for the black community. They're not reliable, sturdy leaders. You need your leaders to be sturdy and strong. You need your leaders to be consistent as hell. You need your leaders to put you as the top priority. Number one, they got to be B1 all day, every day, all the time. Why? Well, because it ain't easy being black. It really ain't easy being black. Everybody want to be black until it's time to be black. Everybody loves to be black when it's flashy. Nobody wants to be black when it's hard, right? Most people, when it's time to really be black, they're going to bounce out, again, just like the fun parent, like the fun baby daddy who comes around at Christmas and birthdays, but when you ask him to really stick around and feed the baby every morning, change the diapers every day, pay half of the bills, and take the child to school and pick the child up after school and take him out to basketball practice, he can't handle that. Help the baby with the homework. He can't do that for 2 days, right? Shout out to the real parents who are really doing that, because that's a different level of commitment. That's a different level of commitment. So our celebrities, unfortunately, I think that they're connecting with this whole, like, I want to be black thing because it's become trendy and cool. And I think it's great. Like, we welcome you. But when we welcome you onto the bus, you're going to have to sit at the back. We're not going to let you get on the bus and start driving the bus. You are not the bus driver. You did not build the bus. You can ride on the bus, but we're taking the lead over here. You take the lead. If we decide to all become entertainers or rappers or actors, then guess what? You get to take the lead. But if you decide to come in our space, we're going to be the leaders, and you need to take notes. Because you're still in the training program and we still don't trust you, because we don't need you jumping to the front because you got 10 million Twitter followers and then driving the damn bus off the motherfucking cliff. Okay, because that's what's happened. You've had, in the case of Snoop and Nick Cannon, you had people that jumped to the front because they had a big following. They said they started getting sloppy with some of their words, sloppy with some of their actions because they weren't being careful and precise. And next thing you know, they hemmed themselves up in the corner and got everybody killed. Got the whole movement just took down. Seriously, like they went out and led the whole damn platoon and led you down the wrong path, put you in a ditch, and got everybody shot up because they've never led a platoon before. They're not about this life. They ain't ready for this. They don't know what it's like to really rub two nickels together to figure out how to get something going when ain't nobody supporting you for shit. They don't know that life. They know the Hollywood life, which means you get plenty of money to do a bunch of retarded shit and millions of white people love you. I don't know what it's like to walk into a room and be loved by white people. I don't. I don't know that feeling. I will probably never know that feeling, and I'm okay with that, right? But that's a different reality, right? That's a different. You're made of something very different when you accept the fact that being black and being courageous and being committed sometimes also means being lonely as fuck. It means sometimes like you got to go out there and you got to fight by yourself, die by yourself, and lay there bleeding on the battlefield with nobody around to help you. And most celebrities, in my opinion, that I have seen, that I've witnessed and observed, don't even know what that means. They're not even ready. They're just not built like that. So that's my belief. That's my 2 cents. This is not a diss on anybody at all. This is just me giving you a thought that I had in my head that I wanted to let out to the world, and I hope that you guys can take it as it is. So do me a favor, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. Also, you guys know I rep the Black Business School. We have 105,000 students, and that's because we are damn good at what we do. And so if you want to start investing, wealth is the key to this, right? If Nick Cannon and all these other celebrities have financial security, then they wouldn't be as vulnerable. We must create financial security and ownership. That's why wealth is so important to me. So if you'd like to learn how to just learn wealth, just start with free stuff. Don't worry about the cost of anything. How about free? Free is as cheap as we can get. So go to firstshareofstock.com and just sign up. You'll be on the list, and then we'll send you lots of free stuff. I promise you. Your email will have all kinds of financial advice and information that will help you. We'll make offers to you, but a lot of stuff is free, so you don't have to pay anything until you're ready or unless you're ready. But we need money to move the movement, so we will ask you to support certain things in our black business. Second of all, another free thing that we have is Black Movie Night. We are building a black-owned movie industry. We are building it now, and it is working. I had a conversation with Rick Mathis, who made the film Black Friday. I'm in the film. David Banner is in the film. Chuck D is in the film. Ice-T is in the film. There's a few. Judge Toller, I believe, is in the film. Don't quote me on that, though, but I think she might be in it. And a lot of other great black people. So if you'd like to join us for next Black Movie Night, go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. We meet on July 23rd at 8 p.m. It's totally free. blackmovienight.net. So the other URL to learn how to invest and get started with that is firstshareofstock.com. That's 4 words. firstshareofstock.com and blackmovienight.net, not .com, .net. So these are things that we're building. We're constantly creating. We're not just talking about it. We are about it. Like we've dedicated tens of thousands of hours to this because we're 100% serious, and we welcome anybody's support who wants to be a part of that. So take care, everybody. Love you. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Be good. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.